Thank you all for coming. Very important day for all of us at YPNC, friends and family of our interns. My name is Tim Sullivan. I'm the Senior Director of Climate Resilience for the Yampa Valley Sustainability Council. I'm doing a poor imitation today of being Michelle Stewart. She is taking a deserved vacation. I know she's heartbroken that she couldn't be here today because this day, these presentations always mean a lot to her. She'll watch the recording of it, and just so the interns all know that she is there in spirit. I texted with her last night, and she's very sad that she couldn't join. So for those that haven't been at one of our intern presentations before, this is a culmination of a few months of work by our interns, and this is an extra special day because we also have presentations from two of our partner interns that have been working with our partner organizations and doing work here. Those partners being the Center for Western Weather and Water Extreme, CW3E, and Colorado Mountain College and Riley, working as that intern. And then very special, first time we've done this, sort of shared, but mostly led by the Routt County Wildfire Mitigation Council, Hadley Lavados, being able to present as well. So it's great that we're getting this cross-organizational engagement from our young and rising leaders in Routt County on critical issues that we all face. And I know you'll all find inspiration in the work they've done and feel better about the future. So I'm going to turn it over to the person who deserves all of the credit, or at least most of the credit, for making this program such a success. That's Dakota Dolan. Cody is amazing in the way she works with the interns, both in helping to select them, mentor them, bring them through, and have other partners come and engage with them. So Cody is responsible for really making the filling process, and that we continue to get such a great crop of new interns who can share their enthusiasm and experiences with all of us on the staff and with you in the community. So I'm gonna turn it over to Cody.
So thank you for that introduction. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled to see such a packed group. This is awesome. I'm really proud of this group. Summer, kind of like Tim mentioned, it's kind of a special time. We have our biggest group of interns in the summer. YVSC has the most events and kind of things happening to engage with. And we also get to work with our partner organizations and kind of collaborate with those interns as well. So summer is a really special time to be an intern, and I'm not picking favorites.
Wow, because you had it the other way around. Because
yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I don't care.
I think someone might need to mute their microphone. Just gonna add a note. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. I'm really excited for these interns to show you what they've been working hard at over the last 12 weeks. For those of you not familiar with the program, it's a 12-week professional experience that YVSC hosts every fall, spring, and summer. And it basically allows interns to work with a YVSC staff member, and together they work on a project concept that both meets the needs of YVSC at that time and also addresses that intern's skills and interests so that they can come together and create a unique, one-of-a-kind internship project. And all of those are rooted in one of YVSC's 5 priority areas, and those are waste diversion, energy, transportation, community engagement, and resilient land and water. So I think it's a very special program and provides a unique opportunity for interns to really engage with the community and with YVSC staff, as well as other agencies, organizations, and local government, et cetera. So I really hope you enjoy what they have to show you today. And one quick note, I know we're here from 12 to 3. Please help yourself to lunch. I'm not going to have any scheduled breaks, so please feel free to come and go, use the restroom, which is right around the corner, and please help yourself to lunch. So with that, I will start us off. We're going to start with Sloane Speer. She was our intern working on the connections between art and the local community, as well as climate action. And she's just going to pass something out really quick, and then let's welcome her up to the podium. Yay, Sloane! And one other note, while Sloane is making her way up here, there will be a moment for questions and discussion after each presenter. So just hold on to your questions. And folks that are joining online, if you can type in your question, and then Abby will kindly help in projecting those to the room.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have such an incredible crew of interns this summer, and we really appreciate you being here to support us and listen to all the amazing work that's been done this summer. So I'm Sloane Speer. I'm the community engagement intern this summer with YVSC. And my project was building engagement, awareness, and community through art. I designed a publication honoring art for climate action and hosted artist engagement events. Also, a big thank you to everyone who's joining us virtually.
I'm just gonna interrupt really quick. Interns, make sure you're standing in front of the camera too, on the laptop so that everyone can see you on Zoom.
Okay, so I'll start off with a little fun about me slide. So I grew up in Steamboat Springs with my sister Shay, who's here with us today. She's also an intern, and it's been super fun to get to call her my coworker and work with her in the office. I love the outdoors, exploring, hiking, camping, and I'm learning how to outdoor rock climb this summer. I'm also a barista at Big Iron, so you can see me there on some weekends. I also love to paint, especially here, our beautiful scenery in Steamboat Springs. I'm studying at Scripps College, International Relations and Art with a minor in Spanish, and I hope to use these studies to go into the communications and design realm and make a positive impact on the world around me. I applied for this internship because I've been involved as an artist in the past with YVSC and just saw what an amazing and impactful organization this is. I was hoping to explore more about the connection between art and the environment, and YVSC has given me such an incredible opportunity to do this. So my staff mentors this year. Kate is the donor engagement director at YVSC and also the longest standing employee here at the organization. She wasn't able to join us today because she's on a well-deserved vacation to Finland, so that's super cool. Before her time as donor engagement director, Kate worked as the communications and program manager for YVSC, and I've learned so much from her expertise in communications, promotion, and event planning this year. Jill has worked with YVSC for many years, providing creative insights and beautiful visuals for the organization. If you've seen a Retree shirt, this is her art. And she's been doing this for almost 10 years, which is super cool. You can see the 2016 version up here on the screen. This summer, I've absolutely loved working with such an experienced and established local artist. So as we all know, the Yampa Valley is a home to a diverse collection of people, from ranchers to restaurant workers, and from fifth generation locals to part-timers. So in order for YVSC to maximize its impact, it needs to reach people of all kinds in an empowering, respectful, and nonpartisan way. That's why one of YVSC's priority areas is community engagement. So empowering individuals, governments, businesses, and organizations to connect their knowledge, collaboratively conserve resources, increase resilience, and reduce emissions throughout the Yampa Valley. One tool that YVSC harnesses in its community engagement sector is art. Art can be a way to connect with people on an emotional level of all backgrounds, ages, and levels of knowledge, making it a valuable tool to engage with community members. By building an event called Insight Art for Climate Action that creates a space for people to share stories, inspire others, and connect on an emotional level, climate action can transition from being a distant and overwhelming idea, which is how it can sometimes feel, to being an approachable community-based initiative. The event is changing a little bit this year, shifting towards a community engagement-focused, long-term month exhibit without a live auction portion. It's important that artists are made aware of this change, and it's also important to put time and energy into helping them in the beginning stages of their creation of art for climate action. To make Insight as successful and impactful as possible, we need informed and energized artists, as they are the backbone of this event. So that's where my project came into play, and I was given the opportunity to help build an informed artist community and highlight climate-focused art. I feel so grateful to have this role as a past Insight artist myself. It's so cool to see the event and the organization from a new lens. My specific project this summer was to host 2 artist engagement events, the plein air outing and the land art outing, in order to build a community around art and climate action and inform this community about changes to Insight and promote the event and the call for artists. My second objective this summer was to create a printed catalog of past Insight art in order to elevate climate-focused art and uplift these artists' voices. So I'll first talk a little bit about the artist engagement events. The purpose again was to build connections in the artist community, inform these artists and promote the event, and inspire and empower artists to create climate-focused art. And we hoped to build these goals into a fun, artistic, and outdoor event that's catered towards the artist. So the specific methods that came into play during this part of my project was event planning and promotion. So deciding on logistics, the who, when, where, and why of these events, and creating the promotional materials to spread the word. Also communicating with our amazing event partners. Also communication, so making sure that I'm representing the organization and its purpose well, not only in how I'm presenting myself at these events, but also in how I'm writing and speaking about the purpose of the organization in those promotional materials. So the first outing we held was the plein air outing. This was on June 28th at Rotary Park. Artists came with their chosen material to create art in plein air, which for a non-artist means going out into the environment and creating the scenery in front of you while you're there, being present in the moment, appreciating the beautiful natural environment that we have here in Steamboat. We collaborated with local artist Anne Feldman, who's an experienced and talented plein air artist. We had 12 attendees, so this was a great opportunity to have an intimate connection with each person that came to this event. I was able to talk with every single person there, hear their story, and talk to them about the art that was created. So that was really cool. I think this event was super successful. It was really cool to see how each person can interpret a place differently. What artists decided to focus on and their methods for capturing the scene in front of them was completely unique to each person. And this kind of showed me how art is able to be such a valuable tool, allowing you to see something through someone else's eyes or through their perspective. One of my favorite moments from the event was when I came to check in on our local tattooist and local artist, Luisa Manriquez. She was on one of the boardwalks of the Rotary Park. You can see her in the corner here. As we were chatting, a couple of the kids who came to our event splashed up the river, taking a break from their art practice in order to cool down on the summer day. So it was really fun to see all the different avenues in which people are able to connect and appreciate our environment, whether it be through art or whether it be through just being present in the moment like these kids. So now I'll shift to talking about our second event, which was the land art outing. The land art event was held on July 20th at Butcher Knife Trail. We had over 20 attendees, so it was really cool to have a bigger group of people all towards the same goal, the same activity. We partnered with local naturalist and grouse tours owner, Jeremiah Seropoulos. Jeremiah was a really valuable addition to this event. He, as we walked along the trail collecting materials to use in our final piece, Jeremiah was there to give insight and an amazing amount of knowledge about what different species we were seeing and the different interactions that were happening in the environment around us. One of the important goals of this event was to create an approachable opportunity for maybe non-artists or less active people to come outside and create. So if you can come on the trail with us, and if you're willing to try something new and creative, this event is perfect for everyone. One of the biggest outcomes I saw during this event was the community that it created. So we had people who were maybe this tall, little toddlers, some kids around this height, and then we also had some older folks in their 60s and 70s. So it was a giant group of people with all sorts of backgrounds, ages, and stories. And it was really cool to see all these people talking with each other, maybe conversing with someone that they usually wouldn't get the chance to talk to. And they were all coming together to work on a shared goal, which brings me into collaboration, which is another outcome that came and really surprised me about how important this was during the event. So we had some little kids with a lot of energy who were excited to go run down the trail and find us a perfect stick or the perfect colored rock to use in our final piece. And then we also had some older folks who maybe didn't want to bend all the way down to the ground where the piece was. So they were giving us some support and guidance from a standing vantage point. Everyone found a way to contribute to this in their own way with what their capacity was. And that really was symbolic to me of the importance of collaboration within YVSC and also within climate action in general. So here we have a picture of our crew in our final piece. One of my favorite things about our mandala that we created on this event was how you can definitely see how so many hands were a part of its creation. In each and every corner, there's a little thing that you can tell someone spent their time and energy on creating. So there's a bunch of different people that all work towards creating this one unified piece of art. I just think that's really meaningful. Okay, so now I'm going to switch gears again and talk about my second objective with YVSC, which was the 2023 and 2024 Insight Catalog. So the goals of this catalog were to represent YVSC in Insight, to elevate climate-focused art, and to uplift artist voices. So if you come to one of our Insight events, you'll see a big plethora of amazing art for climate action, but you may only have a couple hours to really sit with what you're seeing and enjoy and appreciate that art. So this catalog gives people a moment to sit down and take a little bit more time to engage with the artist's meaning and their vision and their background for each piece. The methods that came into play on this side of my project were design. So I used softwares like Adobe Photoshop and Canva to put this together. Formatting for a printed publication is something that I haven't done before. So learning about bleed and about how much space you need on the edges of your document for it to go to print successfully was a big part of this project as well. Communication, so again, making sure I'm representing YVSC at my best, and also layout and organization. So making sure that we can fit as much art, but still give each piece its own space and its own moment within the catalog. So there are some catalogs out on the tables and you're welcome to take a look at it as I talk about this on this slide. I also have a couple example pages up here if you don't get the chance to see one of our 5 printed copies. So the catalog is 32 pages, including the front and back cover, and it displays work from all 58 Insight artists. So here you can see the title page of the catalog. I put this together in Canva. My goal was to try to create a cohesive landscape design out of a bunch of the art that people had submitted. So there's 4 pieces of art here layered together to hopefully create a new piece of art. Here in the center, we have the YVSC informational page. So this is a brief introduction and background on the organization. And finally, we have one of the many art pages. So it's got 2 artists, their pieces, a title information, and then their socials and websites so people can go and support them. And then you also have the artist statement, which was really important. So people can take a moment to read what went into the creation of this piece. The steps I completed to execute this project are organizing the Insight submissions into one big spreadsheet and then gathering information about each artist, whether it be through their medium, the title of the piece, their socials and website, and their artist statement. And then deciding how many pieces we could display. So we had to come to the conclusion that not all of the art could be put in a 32-page catalog. So instead, in order to honor every single artist, we chose 1 piece from each artist in the 2023 and 2024 years. So that's how we came to the number. Then came filling each page, the front and the back cover and the informational pages, which took up a big chunk of my summer. And then printing through Element. So we have 5 copies printed now, and in the future, we hope to go back and do a bigger print quantity. A future step is to distribute the catalog to artists, staff, donors, board members, and a larger community to try to get as many eyes and as much appreciation as we can for these artists and their work. So one of the coolest parts of this internship is that not only do we get amazing, personalized, important projects to work on over the summer, but we also get to do all of this other stuff in the community and in the organization. So this is a list of some of the other things I was able to do throughout the summer. It's really cool because it gets you out of the realm of your own project and into the greater community. As a humanities-centered student, it was really cool to get to enter into the mysterious STEM world. Especially through the regeneration survey, where I got to come with my sister Shay on one of her project events, which you'll hear about, and get to collect data on a burn scar. I also came to a bunch of meetings, did some volunteer opportunities, and played staff kickball, which was awesome, and you'll see a lot more pictures of that in future presentations. So this internship went above and beyond my expectations. The staff were welcoming and supportive. It was beautifully organized, and the amount of trust and choice we were given to implement our projects was just amazing. I learned so much throughout the summer, and it helped me discover this connection between art and sustainability and realize that that curiosity that I had is out there in the world, and there are opportunities to meld these two fields. I will continue to seek out opportunities like this in the future. I also had a couple other personal takeaways, an understanding of a nonprofit organization and the impact that an organization like this can have. I got to see YVSC from a new vantage point from being a past artist. Building relationships in the artist community was so special. I got to speak with so many local artists and community members. And I gained more experience in design, publication, and communications, which will come with me through the rest of my career. So moving forward for YVSC, I hope that the work that I did this summer will continue to benefit the organization in the future. One of the ways that I hope this happens is I created an insight catalog template. So this is the insight catalog without any of the information. So hopefully in the future with different insight events, it can be used by the staff to really easily recreate this catalog. Plein air was an outing that has been done before, but the land art was more of a guinea pig event. So I'm hoping that after we tried this for the first time, it'll be able to come back for future artist engagement events as well. I think a fall mandala with the fall colors would be super beautiful. And finally, developing future Insight participation. I'll be in school over Insight, but I'm hoping to maybe come back and see the event again because it really is one of my favorite community events in Steamboat. If I'm able to come, I hope to see some of this year's plein air art submitted and also maybe some photography of the land art event. I also hope that I was able to help artists realize the scope and possibility of what can be created and submitted to Insight and provide some inspiration to get their gears turning. So last, I'd like to give a quick thank you to my mentors, Kate and Jill. They were so valuable to spend time with this summer. Our art event partners, Jeremiah Soropoulos and Ann Feldman, Abby for all of her communications expertise, Lane for all of her troubleshooting and help throughout the year, Carrie Wetloffer for printing the catalog, Shay and the rest of the interns for being such a fun group to be around, Cody just for everything that she does in this program. It's truly an impactful and meaningful thing. And our guest speakers that we had come to our events, come to our meetings over the year. And all the YVSC staff who've been so supportive and fun to get to spend time around and learn from their knowledge. Okay, and then I don't have a question slide, so I'll just take them here on this slide if you have any.
Question. Yeah. Well, you seem to make it look easy. But what was the biggest challenge that you found this summer in your internship?
I would say the amount of, there was a bunch of submissions for this catalog, so organizing them and working on my organization for in Google Drive and in this spreadsheet was a big piece of it. I learned a lot through the organizational process there. And also it was hard to have to cut art from this catalog. I wanted it to be able to have every single piece in it, but we have so much submissions that only some could be there. So it was hard to pick from all of the submissions. And that's why we landed on having one from each artist, but it was just like hurting my heart to not have every single piece of art. I was like, can we have a 60-page catalog, please? And just have every single piece in there. But I would say that was a bigger challenge.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You touched on this a little bit, but what do you think is the most important learning about how we can reach people through this kind of engagement art and inspiration as opposed to traditional environmental education? What do you think we get out of it that we don't get from maybe other types of engagement opportunities?
I think these artist engagement events and art in general is not a thing that people do alone. Vacuum. It's a thing that connects people, not only in like how people decide what to create, but also the connection that happens when an artist talks to a viewer or when a viewer looks at the piece. So I think that community connection that's created through art is maybe grander than what you'd get just reading an article about some statistics on climate change or just seeing what's going on around us. It creates like a community and a group out of what maybe wouldn't be possible through other communications. Yeah.
What kinds of strategies did you use to identify potential participants in the art experiences? In other words, how did you strategize on your outreach to the artist community to try to make sure you were getting interested people?
So YVSC has an amazing database of artists that have been involved with YVSC in the past. So Jill helped me a lot with connecting with these artists that have submitted in the past and maybe the people who've been a part of YVSC in other ways, like the volunteer opportunities. So that's where we started, is those who have already been a part of the organization. And then we used social media and we used flyers around town to get the word out beyond the organization and into the community. Those were our main ways for promoting the event.
And can I try a quick follow-up question?
Yeah.
What's happening with the art that you yourself created this summer?
So I, during these events, was there as a support. So I didn't do a personal plein air piece. I just got to walk around and look at the amazing stuff that others were creating. And I did help on the land art piece, which I hope will be, it was photographed by our amazing naturalist who was there. So I'm hoping that will go into the Insight event. But I definitely plan on submitting my own art for the event as well. I haven't started yet, but it will get done by February.
And I'll comment on that, is that her art the last 2 years has gone like that. She has one actually kind of collector that's been buying her art. So if you want to bid, you have to get on it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that for communications and arts people, the connection to climate action is clear, but it might not be, just like it's mystical for us to go into STEM. It might not be obvious to people in STEM the value of arts. And I know that when you were interning, you taught me about the value of art and like how to communicate. And I learned stuff from talking to you and Jill. How do we communicate that with people in the sciences, how important it is to connect art and more abstract maybe concepts to the science behind climate change?
Yeah, I think having visuals alongside of data can be super duper important to help people connect not only with the scientific and logical side of what's happening, but also the emotional side. Another important part is that art will show people's stories and they'll show the background and kind of the more like humanities side of what's going on. So maybe temperatures are rising, maybe we're getting less water, but how is that impacting our agriculture? How's that impacting actual people out in the field? Art helps do that by showing those stories and by helping people connect with the stuff that people are facing and the challenges that are happening in the world. Questions?
For the land art, did you guys destroy it afterwards?
No, we left it out there, which I think is really cool because I was worried that people would come by and think it was some like weird mystical like, thing on the ground. But I think it kind of builds like a little question and a curiosity in people that pass by. I think we heard from some walkers and people that passed the path that they like ran into it on their walk, which is pretty cool. I think it pretty quickly got destroyed. We used a bunch of sticks, so I think it was a really, really big present for the dogs that walk on that. They come by and they're like, "Oh, it's just for me!" Yay! So I think it kind of dispersed pretty quickly, but we did leave it out.